In the name of Allah, the most merciful and the most beneficent. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope you all are doing well at your home and you are safe, inshallah. I welcome you once again in Pakistan International School Attai's virtual learning class for the subject Science for grade 7th. We are on lecture number 14. So we will talk about that some water impurities and its sources, because we are on chapter number 5 in which we are discussing about very important facts about water. So let's get started. Yes, dear students, in the previous topic we have discussed about water and its importance for our life, for other living organisms, and as well as we have discussed some sources of water. Today we will see some impurities of water. What are these things and why we are discussing here? So let's talk about that. We all need clean drinking water, clean drinking water, because if we don't drink clean water, so what will happen? We can get sick. So clean drinking water is very much important for every living organism, especially for human beings. So as we know that on the earth, almost 70% of water is present on the surface of the earth. So our water resources are becoming unfit due to the presence of impurities in water. So that all 70% water is not drinkable. Just very less percentage of water is there, which is 3% almost of fresh water, which is drinkable. So there are lots of reasons why why the water which is present almost 70%, that is actually not only 70%, 70% is present in our body. So 97% of water is present on the surface of the earth. So that 70% is present in a human's body. So that 97% is undrinkable and just 3% of water is drinkable. So if we talk about why the water is undrinkable, there are lots of reasons over there, but one major reason is impurities of water. So the fresh water which we are getting, that also can be impure. So what are impurities? We will see here. Water may have germs. So it may also have salts, dirt, and some other chemicals in it. So in addition of harmful substances into the water, that is called water pollution. Like the impurities of water, the things, the germs, the substances, the chemicals which are present in the water, and they make the water impure. Pure means clean and impure means not clean. So that means that they make our water impure, and when the water is impure, so we say that water is polluted. So when water is polluted, that process is called water pollution. And lots of harmful and unwanted substances which are present in the water, they are called pollutants, means which cause or which create pollution in the water. So we can classify water pollutants in some different groups. So let's talk about those pollutants who make water polluted and which are the causes of water pollution. If you see, number one, that is what? Bacteria, virus, and microorganisms. The water which is clear to you, it doesn't mean that is not polluted, because these are the things by virus, bacteria, and microorganisms, we cannot see them with our naked eye. So micro means the organisms which we see from microscope. So the water which is running through the tap, that is um, like not having any surety that that is clean water or pure water. You can see there are lots of types of bacteria which are present in running tap water, as well as we are having this like these all viruses, and the purple is bacteria. So we can have these type of microorganisms in the water which make the water polluted. Okay, the next one, if we see which pollutants cause water pollution, that is acids, salts. They are water soluble pollutants. So we cannot see like these pollutants in the water because they can be dissolved in the water. If we see this one, the salts, too much salt is dissolved in the water, and that is too much concentrated with the salt, that salts appear here in the form of crystals. So that is, you know, which the picture of which sea is indicating this type of structure. Yes, that is Dead Sea, in which that is too much salty and mm, like more than a normal sea. So they just appear like the crystals of salts in that. So as well as if we see the acids, we cannot see actually properly in uh, the water. It seems to be clear, but actually it isn't. So what happened? The pollutants can increase the growth of algae in the water. So algae is the green color substance, a living organism that looks like, appears like plants, but actually they are not. And they are microorganism as well as macro also. So if you see here on the pond or in the water, you can see the green layer. This is not a carpet, but actually this is the layer of algae which has grown in the water. So what happened due to the presence of algae? Sunlight cannot reach under the water, and the life which is present under the water, they can be that life can be affected. Because the plants which are aquatic and they live under the water, definitely they need sunlight to do photosynthesis. So if they don't do photosynthesis by this, so what will happen? The plants also die, and if the plants die, the life, the fishes, some other organisms depend on those plants, they can die. So like as a result, what will happen? The aquatic life under the water will be destroyed and finished. So that is due to the mostly due to the presence of acids which are present in the polluted water. And these acids comes um, uh, these acids come from the runoff the water which is escaped or released from the industries. So we'll talk about that after a few minutes. So if we see the third most important category of pollutant, that is oil, plastic and pesticides. They are also very harmful to plants and animals in the water. So if you see, that is oil spill. Some oil tanks are leaked, or oil ships which are carrying the oil from one place to another. So they can be leaked into the water, and that is the layer of that oil just spreading on the surface of the water. And like the previous, what is happened, the sunlight cannot reach over there, as well as it makes a layer on the surface, so oxygen cannot be penetrated into the sea. So what happened, the animals can die as a result. So if you see this one, this diagram, so you see this is a turtle. It is like uh, completely covered with the plastic, with some sort of ropes or plastic bags like this. You can see this one. So this is the result of throwing garbage, and especially plastic, in the oceans or water. And definitely as a result, it cannot like move properly, and it can die if it engulfs that plastic, because plastic is non-biodegradable material. If you remember, you have studied in grade 5. So because it cannot be broken down into simpler substances, so it remains for millions of years like in such form. So it is very lethal and dangerous for the health of marine life and aquatic animals also, and plants as well. So if you see this one, these are the person is spreading or spraying pesticide, like the chemical, the spray of that chemical, which can kill the pests, which can destroy the crop. One side, it is having benefit because it destroys all the pests of the crops, so crops can grow well. But on the other hand, it is like environmental hazard also, because by the rainfall or by watering the plant, so what will happen, this pesticide all goes into this water resource, and due to that, water becomes polluted, and like it is increasing acids and some chemicals into the water, and that is like will go into the rivers and canals and lakes, so that will be dangerous for animals health. So let's talk, if you see here, what is water pollution? So you can, because now we are gonna see some topics related to water pollution, so how it gets spreaded. So we can see that there are lots of things like present in the water, and then the runoff of that industrial fluid effluent is there. So water pollution is major contamination of water bodies like rivers, lakes, and oceans. And this is the form of environmental degradation, sorry, and occurs when pollutants are directly or indirectly discharged into the water bodies. As this is directly discharged into the bodies, and it can be directly or indirect way. So let's talk about some sources of water pollution, that how water pollution occurs. So there are different sources. If we see, this is a river which is flowing through this area. So what happened, here are rural homes, like villages are there, here are urban streets are there, like cities are there, some developmental constructions, and everything is going on here. Wastewater treatment plants, like some factories by which the wastewater is going to be treated. But like here, look, you can see wastewater is going to be treated, but it also releases some waste here, as well as animals are over there, and they release the waste, as well as factories releases smoke, as well as some effluent or chemicals raised water into this river. This is fresh water, but when it is accumulated with all these type of stuff, the water which is coming from all these bodies, so it gets contaminated with lots of pollutants. And here is cropland also, when we spray or give fertilizer, so that water also just come into this river. So let's talk about some sources of water pollution. First we'll talk about human waste. Very major component, because whole of the environment is going to be changed day by day by human activities, and in that one of the major fact is human waste. So people release sewage into drains which carry it into the rivers. So after all, as a result, this drain has to be discharged into oceans. So the sewage is that water which is released from the home, that chemical rich and dirty water which is drained out from the homes. So sewage from houses contains fats and toilet waste as well, which we use at home for washing, for dishing, for like bathing, for toilet use purpose, as well as food particles are over there. When we just wash our hands, we know we wash our just dishes, and detergents from like washing purpose, as well as lots of harmful bacteria which are just by doing cleaning and washing purposes, they all are released through sewage water into the rivers. So that is very what we can say, hazardous to human health. And this is like the river water, we also give that water to the crops as well. Humans and animals use this for drinking, and lots of problems will occur by this. So these human waste not only cause diseases in human beings, but they also destroy aquatic life. Definitely there are fishes and plants living over there in the water, so that destroy. So you can see here, by washing, by toothpaste, and whatever we washing our clothes, and that is the sewage water, and which run off into the river. So as well as if you see here, that is that human being activities, like we release some chemicals, also some salts, and lots of other things, um, as well as this storms, you were by the rain and by this dust, all these things just go into the gutters and into the sewage pipeline, and then it releases into the river. Plastic litter, like plastic garbage, is also released, you can see here, into the water. So that is the big reason that humans are causing pollution, especially water. So now I see next one, that is industrial waste. So if we see industrial waste, industrial release a large number of toxic chemicals into the rivers and canals. Definitely. So like this, on continuous 24 hours, they are releasing that toxic substances into the rivers and canals. The river and canals are the big sources of fresh water, so they get contaminated. So smoke and toxic gases released from industries also cause the main cause the rainwater to become acidic rain. So this is industry, you can see, is continuously releasing and releasing its like contaminated water into the fresh water. So these chemicals can kill fish and aquatic animals and plants as well. So this is another fact, due to the smoke and toxic gases which are released through like other sources, they are the big cause of like aquatic animals destruction. You can see lots of fries, like small fishes and fishes are destroying and just and they are dead due to contamination of the water. So you can see here, acid rain means the rain in which acids are present. Definitely these are the chemicals. So what happened? Factory smokes, these are all factory and plants, the smoke, and the vehicle smokes, they just go up into the atmosphere, and they releases such type of gases, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and they're very, very harmful. So when the clouds are formed and the rainfall is happened, so uh, and lightning also, like this lightning is there. So what happened? Due to the lightning, the water reacts with nitrogen oxide and sulfur oxide, nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide, sorry, because there are two oxygen dioxide chemical which is present in the air. They get chemically reacted, and look, they form sulfuric acid and nitric acid, and they become acidic in the presence of water, and with rainfall they just come down onto the earth. So like by this acid rain, because acid is present in that, so acids cause the destruction of living organisms, not only living organisms, and aquatic life as well, which is present under the water, that is lethal for them, because the water gets contaminated, as well as not only living organisms, but non-living things also, like buildings and like earth, ground, and like that, they can also be destroyed by this acid rain. Plants can also be destroyed. So next we will see the next, last but not the least, that is fertilizers. Fertilizers, actually, fertilizers come from the word fertile, means the chemicals which make our soil fertile for the crops. So that is very important. We have discussed this before also, because um, fertilizers, they uh, are very, very helpful to just grow the crops in a proper manner, because in the soil when the nutrients are very less, so just farmers give them feed them with fertilizers, and these fertilizers after watering dissolve in the water, and just the plants absorb that dissolved fertilizers, nutrients, and the plants grow in a proper manner and very rapidly. So this is very, very important. As well as pesticides, we have discussed before that they are used to kill. Side means kill, pesti means pest, the insects, and that some worms like structure which can destroy the crops. So they are very useful for the crops on one hand, but on the other hand they are very, very harmful, because with the rainfall they carries these chemicals to the water resources, like into the canals and rivers, and they make the water polluted. And this polluted water is not fit for aquatic plants and animals when they destroy, or if they are affected. So human being and other animals eat them, and they can also be affected. You can see this is like fertilizer, which is like running off with the water into the water body, like into the river, and it makes the water contaminated. And if you can see here, that is going to this water where the animals are living, or definitely the animals use this one, so they can also be affected. If you see, there are lots of ways by which water can be in big problem, like soil. When the water is running out or flowing towards the water body, so what happened? It carries the soil inside it, then it carries manure inside it. Manure is called as the natural fertilizer, or some waste of the animals, and fertilizers which give to the plants. So they are very little problems, but altogether a little problem uh, runoff and adds to a big problem. And like here the garbage is increasing, and as well as you can see here lots of animals living under the water, so they can be affected by with this one, this a big problem. So save water, save life. If we want to save the life of human beings as well as to others organisms, we must save water. So when we save water, it means, look, there are lots of ways by which they are throwing or releasing excreta into the water. So overall from this topic, we have just learned that this industrial water must be released in a proper manner and discarded somewhere else, not directly into the water. And like the diesel petrol from this accidental car, it is also releasing some oil, and this one, look, these living organisms are dying by using this. Is these are chemicals which are released, poison or explosives which are released in the water. And garbage is throwing here, you can see this person as well as from here, like we all do like this, throwing out the material from the car. That is not a good practice. So if we see this these organisms just can like utilize this type of like plastic, and they can die by this. So that is like mm, that can affect the biodiversity of this world. So a very brief topic about the water is like water is not the water only, but it is having two different types, soft and hard water. What do you mean by water? Is water that is in liquid form. It is not soft, it is not hard. But how can you distinguish that this water is hard and this water is soft, and what is good for us, our health? So you can see this diagram in which you can see this is soft water and this is hard water. You can see the difference clearly, isn't it? Yes, this water is the water. Why it is called soft? Because it gives rich lather with soap. When we wash our hands with soap, so and wet our hands, and we use wet soap, so what happened? We just rub it, and we just see much leather, rich leather, and more foam on our hands. So that is called soft water. So like in opposite of that, if we see the hard water, you can see that is not clear, that is cloudy color, milky appearance. So why it is so? Because the water which does not give good lather with the soap but forms curds. Curds means it just splits into some parts and portions. So and it does not wash our hands properly, it does not just makes our hand silky and softy. So that is called hard water. So the water which we use in our house, that is soft water. And sea water is hard water. Why it is hard water? Why it is hard and it is soft? Because water becomes hard when chloride, sulfate, and carbonate, these are all the salts. So these salts are dissolved in water, so lots of salts are there, so they do not allow the soap to be make a foam with that. So you see this is good foam, good leather over there, and it does not have. So that is the difference between soft and hard water. So for our health, soft water is um, like a healthier and good for our health, as well as hard water is not. If we see the ocean water and contaminated water, that is to a hard water because it is having lots of chemicals present inside it. So there is a clear-cut difference between the soft and hard water. So hard water contains dissolved salts of calcium and magnesium, like it is having more salts. But salt water does not contain such dissolved salts. Maybe salts are present, but in very minor quantity. Number two, hard water does not form lather with soap. Yes, it does not form any kind of foam, any kind of like a fluffy appearance with the soap, but it just forms good lather with the soap. So if we talk about hard water, so the third one is large quantity of soap is required during washing because it does not make good leather, good foam. So it does it will not be utilized to wash the dishes and clothes and everything. Um, because it does not remove the grease and the chemicals from the substance. So we have to use a large quantity of soap for that purpose. But here soap is not wasted at all. We have to use a very less soap to make good leather with soft water. Dear students, we have seen today impurities of water and some sources of water pollution with and a few just a little a brief introduction of soft and hard water and its daily usage. So that's it for today, and inshallah we will meet again in the next lecture. Till then, Allah Hafiz and wish you good luck.